Hey everybody, it's Chainsaw Reacts. This is my ranking of all the aliens introduced in Ben 10 Alien Force, and I actually had to make this tier list. I actually had to make it myself because I couldn't find one that actually had all the aliens, including the ultimates that were introduced at the end of Alien Force, so I had to make this myself. They're in no particular order, but I made sure that the ultimate versions of the aliens, in terms of Ultimate Humungousaur and Ultimate Swampfire, are basically back-to-back with their original counterparts, so we can rank them or whatever. I understand that they were introduced and they were just there for a smidge in terms of overall of Alien Force, but I still want to include them because they are ultimate versions of those aliens. So without further ado, like I said, there's no real particular order. It's just place them all in here or whatever. Anyways, guys, let's dive in and let's rank the aliens from Ben 10 Alien Force. I really enjoyed this series, so let's dive in here. So first up, Brainstorm. Now, unique design, interesting voice in terms of its speech or whatever, in terms of the alien itself. It's such a weird character, but I love his powers. I love the variety of things that Ben can use or Brainstorm. He didn't use them too much, but when he did, it was really effective. Personally, I think Brainstorm overall is an A. I really like this alien. Now, like I said, he wasn't used as much as I would like, but then again, a lot of the aliens here have been underused, or when they pop up, they make an impact, but they're not used a lot. So it depends, I guess, on like what you think is better. Aliens that are used more frequently or aliens that are used less but they're more effective. Like, what's that balance there? So I'm not sure, but for me, Brainstorm is an A, at least right now. This may change towards the end, but right now I'm going to stick with A on Brainstorm. Swampfire, classic alien in my opinion. We're going S tier for a classic original Swampfire. Love it. Love Swampfire. He was the first alien introduced when the Omnitrix essentially rebooted, recalibrated, whatever, and there was some sort of terminology they exactly used, but whenever it basically transformed, when Ben put it back on, the Omnitrix, this was the first alien in that very first episode that he turned into, from what I can remember. I'm 99.9% sure it was Swampfire, because I remember specifically going, what is this character? And so it was cool to see him introduced. He's used quite often. Of course, he was used again at the very end, of course. And as we know, Ben turned into Ultimate Swampfire. Now, it's kind of hard to rank these, but I want to rank it more so on what we did see a little bit of them. And I will have to say, right now, Ultimate Swampfire is in the B column. Like I said, it is hard to rank aliens that were only there for a very small amount of time, just like with the Ultimate Humungousaur, of course, and that was only albedo, but still he was introduced, and that is going to be the ultimate whenever Ben turns into him down the road, because I'm feeling he's going to have to, right? They created a whole new design for it. But in terms of the actual design, I think it's very interesting, because when that happened with Humungousaur, I'm like, okay, he looks like Humungousaur kind of, but he's a different color, he's got armor, but there's also some changes in terms of his actual design. It wasn't like they basically reskinned Humungousaur and just added a couple different things. Like, they switched up a lot of things in terms of making it Ultimate Humungousaur. So for Ultimate Swampfire, they kind of did the same thing there, where side by side, like, there's a lot of differences there. But when he uses that power for the first time, the blue flame or whatever, insane. But we're going to go for B. We're going to go for B for right now. But a great introduction. He was in very small amount, as we know, in Part 2, the final battle for Part 2, or the final, I think it's the final battle title, anyways. But yeah, we're going to go for B. Like I said, it's hard to rank these aliens, the ultimates, but still, I love the design. But I'm going to give him a B for right now until we see more of him in Ultimate Alien, because I'm assuming we will. Chromastone. You know, for me, I'm going to go for B for Chromastone, personally. Chromastone, like, my whole viewpoint changed on him when he became, as people say, like Jesus, essentially, like Chromastone Jesus or whatever. Like, he became a god figure, in which that's like presentation wise, like that never really came across as like, oh, this guy's really important, but apparently he is. I liked it when Ben used him, but I never really went, oh, I love that character. It's like, oh, okay, Chromastone. Like, it never got me really excited, like seeing Swampfire or seeing like Big Chill or Wrath, which of course he was not in as much as all these other aliens for the most part, or Echo. I really enjoyed those characters. Or Goop, but Chromastone's okay. It's okay. He's not bad. Humungousaur, we're going S tier. Classic Humungousaur. One of the first aliens introduced, I believe it was the second episode of Alien Force he was introduced, I believe. But I love Humungousaur. I love this character. It reminds me of my love for Forearms from the classic series. I really loved Forearms from the classic series, and the design and the strength, and Humungousaur. And the fact is too, Humungousaur, it's not like Ben turns into Humungousaur and that's it. He can actually evolve Humungousaur. Even though there is an ultimate version here, he actually can make him bigger and stronger and make him like basically a kaiju. Like he's not just like the same level or whatever or size. He can actually make Humungousaur even bigger, and that really adds to the name Humungousaur. I like how the voice too is really good. The love Humungousaur. But yes, S tier. Humungousaur, fantastic alien. One of the best. And I would compare Swampfire and Humungousaur in the top tier compared to classic Ben 10. In terms of aliens, like how good these two are for sure. Ultimate Humungousaur. We're gonna go again for another B tier here. Even though Albedo was the one who transformed into him, we got to see a good amount of him, more so than Ultimate Swampfire. And these are no particular order, I just put the ultimates together here. It's not like to where it's like top of the B and then lower B, and then it's like it's just placed in. But yeah, I'll just put them side by side. It's fine. But yeah, I like the design of Ultimate Humungousaur, like I was saying a little bit earlier when I was talking about Ultimate Swampfire. The Ultimate Humungousaur's design, it wasn't like they just reskinned Humungousaur and added a few different things. Like they changed his color design, they changed like kind of his structure in terms of his actual look and the armor or whatever. And then of course the fucking rocket hands. I have no idea, but it was really cool to see this. And this was teasing, of course, Ultimate Alien, which I have not started yet as I'm recording this, but it was really cool to see these two ultimates here. But yeah, Ultimate Humungousaur, we're going to stick with these Bs for right now, but they're really, really cool. And they're ultimate versions of classics, but they're not up to the level yet because we haven't seen a lot of them. Spider Monkey. Personally, I'm going to go for another B for Spider Monkey for this. So Spider Monkey is one, when he was introduced, when I first got to him in the show, there was a lot of people commenting saying, oh no. To them, a lot of people were saying this is their worst alien, that this is their least favorite alien out of all of them from Alien Force. In my personal opinion, I don't think he's that bad. You know, he is annoying at times, but I'm fine with it. You know, I like the fact that it is an homage to Spider-Man in a sense, and that's kind of what they're doing with the alien. I was actually mentioning this because I recorded earlier my playthrough of the second level of the Alien Force game, and I could play a Spider Monkey, and I mentioned at one point that I like the fact that Spider Monkey is blue. Like, you know, Spider Monkey isn't like a brown monkey, but he's an alien. They make the fact that he's blue with some black, and the fact that he can shoot web out of his tail. Like, there's a lot of variety in that kind of design and kind of like the way he would be a spider monkey. Ben didn't use him as much as maybe, I guess, I would have hoped, because I think there is definitely more he could have used with the character, the alien. But for what he did was pretty interesting for sure. And I don't dislike him. Maybe you guys are like, well, we don't dislike him. He's just the least favorite, if that's kind of where your opinion is. And that's fine. But I don't think he's that bad. Big Chill. We're going S tier. No question. Big Chill is going to S tier. Big Chill is amazing. I love this character so much. I can't get enough. Even though it is kind of strange, yes, that Big Chill gave birth and essentially Ben gave birth. I get the whole point there. But Big Chill is effective as hell. I love the fact that Big Chill, I just love the design. Like the fact that when he's like flying in this shot here, he's got the wings and the wingspan and everything, and he's deadly and everything, and there's a variety of ice powers. And the fact when he was actually using Big Chill, when he was on the actual Plumber Station, which actually is a training station or whatever, when all the B team, if you will, showed up, and he was using Big Chill for a time, Ben was, oh my god. He was even more deadly in that whole training sequence there, when even though they didn't know they were training and they were actually doing a test, but Ben was like going to town as Big Chill. It's fucking crazy. But it just shows how powerful he is. So besides the whole thing of having kids, which I don't know if they're ever going to bring that back up, I don't know if they will, but regardless, Big Chill is amazing. And then I was mentioning about the design. When he lands, he goes into like this cape kind of hooded form. It's really cool. I like the design of Big Chill and the voice. Big Chill. Don't know why, just love the voice. I love a lot of the voices for these characters. Like, they're so unique and they stand out. Humungousaur, like that's the voice, Humungousaur, just the way he says it. But yeah, big chill, S tier. Jet Ray, you know, I'm going A. I'm going A with Jet Ray. You know, Jet Ray is a character that I think he's used quite often, mostly sometimes to fly to one location, which is very useful. But I like Jet Ray. I like the design, like the power set. Now, to me, I think Jet Ray maybe could have another power or something to add a little more variety, because it's just lasers and flying. But that's just me. That's just my 2 cents. Maybe there's another power that could have added to the mix. But I think Jet Ray is effective for what they use him for, which is just travel at times. But he is effective when flying, because he is really fast. There are times when Ben uses Jet Ray, he's super quick. So that's good. So Jet Ray gets an A. Wrath. It's hard to give Wrath an S tier because he wasn't used as much. I'm going to go A. Personally. Some people may say that's blasphemy, he needs the S tier because people say he's the best alien. He's phenomenal. But he wasn't used much. But people might say, well, you put these in B. Okay. Okay, we'll put him in S tier. We'll put him at the S tier, at the bottom, even though I'm not saying it's like a ranking thing where you go down, you know, whatever. But I'll give him an S. It may go back to A. I understand it's kind of in the middle. Because Wrath, to me, like, he's fucking hilarious. He is badass. And he's like, let me tell you something. Like, he gets so angry all the time. And when he was first introduced, I mean, in this episode, it was so crazy. Like, what the hell's happening here? And I was exhausted. I was so tired when I recorded that video. But that woke me right up. I'm like, what is this? Wrath was aggressive as hell. And he didn't give a shit. So, yeah. So understand it's kind of in the middle of S and A. The design is great. The voice, John DiMaggio, is phenomenal as Wrath. I hope we get to see more of him in Ultimate Alien, because even though when he was introduced, they kept bringing it back, you know, as much as they could. They didn't bring him back every episode once he was introduced, but his introduction episode is legendary in Alien Force. Echo. You know, I'm going to give A. I think Echo's fine in A. Echo to me is, I think a great, what's the word? Not predecessor, maybe that is the right word, but it's a great follow-up. That's a good way to say it. A great follow-up to, oh god, what was the name of the character? Oh god, I'm forgetting the name of the character that was introduced that was actually voiced by Rob Paulson from the classic series. I'm forgetting. I'm forgetting the name. I'll have to look it up. Ditto. That's who he voiced. Ditto. I for some reason I just couldn't think of that word. I couldn't think of that name. Ditto. But I think it's a great follow-up to Ditto in terms of multiplying the actual alien itself. And Echo is like brutal in terms of what he can do with that character. We saw what he did with the training session once again to the B team using Echo. Like, that was a great section there. And he's using Echo in general, I think, is really powerful, because as I called it, the silent scream, people were like, what does that even mean? I'm like, because it's the idea of like you can hear the scream but barely, because it's so high pitched, but it's like a silent scream. That was kind of my thinking. People were like, well, what? So I get that it's confusing, but Echo is awesome. Great character, love the design, and I love the voice too. Like, the robotic kind of sound of it is really interesting too. Like, the voices is something I really caught on to. And thinking more back on classic, like, all of them had really interesting voices, but I feel like more so in Alien Force, the voices got more interesting in my opinion for the characters here in Alien Force. So Goop, we're gonna go with A for Goop again. It's a PNG file. I was trying to find because I was trying to find images that were as close together as possible, but I couldn't find a really good image of Goop right off Google without the PNG version, so it's fine. Goop is, to me, very, like, I would say interesting, but also very useful, because Ben's actually used Goop to actually get the Omnitrix off of Vilgax during the was it Volcanus? Is that what the actual name of it was? Was it Volcan? No, that was the actual villain. That was the villain. What was the actual name of the Primus? Is that what the thing is called? Primus? Because Volcanus is that villain. But Ben is used Goop like really effective whenever he's it's very effectively is what I'm trying to say. Blah. It's been a day. Sorry. It's been a day. It's been a morning so far. But Goop is very useful, and I like the fact that he's used him to trick Vilgax, like I was mentioning, and the fact that Goop is, like, there's things that only Goop can actually manage in terms of actually navigating and travel and tricking aliens and just being really effective in fights. But Ben hasn't used him as much. But I get it, because if Goop was used more often, I think there would be less story to tell, because Ben could probably effectively defeat enemies faster because of Goop's abilities, because of how, like, ridiculous Goop is. Like, in terms of, like, fighting that robot when he was first introduced, he went inside the robot and then basically expanded and seeped out of it or whatever, and it was that one arm that was still operating the hand. So, but yeah, Goop is really awesome. I love the design of it, and the voice. Goop! Lodestar. We're gonna go B with Lodestar, and like I said, it's not on the bottom here in terms of, like, it's the least villain, the least alien, or the least favorite, or whatever. I like Lodestar's design. The voice is definitely interesting, and I think that the actual power set's cool, but he really wasn't used much, and I wonder why, because they introduced him in Season 3 during a really weird episode, right, with the red versus blue situation, but I feel like Lodestar could have been used more and more effectively when he was used, and I feel like he really wasn't. I don't know why Ben didn't use him as much, but I wonder if it's because we already had all of these aliens here, like, not including the Ultimates, but we had all these aliens that were kind of... Now, I think, yeah, Lodestar was introduced before Wrath, but we had all these other aliens, so I'm guessing they're thinking, Lodestar, you know. So, unfortunately, he was pushed to the side, unfortunately, and that's unfortunate for Lodestar. Hopefully he gets more of an impact in Ultimate Alien if he does come back. We'll see. Alien X. We're going to go A tier on Alien X. Now, Alien X is kind of the wild card, if you will, because he was really introduced as a way to say, this has been at his god form. And the fact that there is a very heavy toll that basically that you have to go through, like Ben does, when using Alien X, which this is why he doesn't use him. It's because when he uses Alien X, he has to then converge and talk with two floating entities, one voiced by Kevin Conroy, rest in peace, and they all three have to come to a decision in order to use Alien X. Because if two disagree with one, Alien X is inoperable. And that's why there was that whole joke about where Alien X, as Ben was turning Alien X, he was able to use the form when he first turned into him to basically change back, like, time or whatever, and revert back. I think the dam exploding, I think that was what it was. But then the rest of the episode, he's just, like, standing frozen because Ben had to converge and try to come up with a solution to talk with the other two entities, the floating entities in space, essentially, come up with a decision. And the reason why nothing gets decided, because both of them, when they go back and forth, without Ben even being there, they can't make a decision together, because they're polar opposites, essentially, so they can't make decisions. So Ben being in the mix, it makes it even worse. So Ben vowed, he said he would never use Alien X. So, he's never used them. But I'm putting him in A tier, number one, because the design is awesome. Love the design of Alien X. But the fact is, there is so much potential with the character if Ben can bypass the barrier that's there in terms of actually getting stuff done, or actually getting stuff proved to do. So, I don't know. I think it's all three of them have to agree upon. Yeah, all three of them have to agree upon something for Alien X to be worked. So, not two against one. So, I was wrong about that. Sorry about that. Sorry. All three of them have to agree. Because when it's just the two of them, they both have to agree on something to get something done. But when Ben's there, all three have to decide on something in order for Alien X to do something. Which is strange, but I guess it makes sense. Because if let's say Azimuth didn't do this, right? Let's say Azimuth made Alien X where Ben can just do whatever he wants in Alien X. What if Ben went evil? What if Ben was mind-controlled and turned into Alien X? And there's times where people are trying to get into the Omnitrix. What if they get into the Omnitrix and get a hold of Alien X? Holy shit. Like, that was the whole worry about with Darkstar. What if he got access to, like, what if, like, that'd be really fucking bad because he was absorbing energy and shit. More fucking Twitter notifications. But anyways, this is my ranking right here. We're gonna stick with this for right now. S tier, Swampfire, Humungousaur, Big Chill, Wrath is kind of in the middle of S and A, but I think it's fine. Let me tell you something. A tier, Brainstorm, Jet Ray, Echo Echo, Goop, Alien X. And B tier, we're going Ultimate Swampfire, Ultimate Humungousaur, Chromastone, Lodestar, and Spider Monkey had this flipped. It's fine. But anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm curious to know where you guys would rank the Alien Force aliens. I'm curious to know your thoughts, guys. Wherever you rank them, let me know in the comments below, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will talk to you guys soon. I can't wait to jump into Ultimate Alien. Peace out.